moms and dads, it's another beautiful day. A warm welcome to this episode of Today's Parent. Are you a mom who's breastfeeding? Then this episode is for you. Our topic today, we are talking about common challenges when it comes to breastfeeding. And in studio, we have Shiro Shera from Nurturing Moms, a doula, a nurse, a friend of moms, and has a lot of expertise when it comes to matters breastfeeding. Shiro,
yes.
Welcome to Today's Parent.
Thank you for having me.
No, really nice to have you. You know, when you think about it, breastfeeding, it sounds like something that is natural, that as women we just know what to do when the baby comes. But it's not always the case.
Yeah, it's not always the case. And there are definitely people who ask, why do they have to learn how to breastfeed? Because my mother never learned how to breastfeed. Monkeys and primates, they give birth, they're not shown how to breastfeed.
It's like an instinct.
It's an instinct. But it doesn't come naturally for everyone. There are some who don't struggle, but there are some who do. So those who struggle actually need to be taught how to do it.
So it's important for moms who are watching to then know that it's okay for you to struggle with breastfeeding.
Yes.
It's not something that comes naturally for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're struggling, please seek help early. Don't wait too long and then you have issues such as cracked, sore, bleeding nipples. You end up stopping breastfeeding because you feel, you know what, I'm not enjoying this. This is actually painful. And you go and look for other milk substitutes.
Yeah.
So seek help before you get to that point where you feel like you want to stop.
And you know, Shiro, talking about finding help before getting to that point.
Yes.
As moms, when you go for our antenatal, even with our first babies, I don't think I ever asked the question of how will I breastfeed my baby? I just wanted to know, is my baby fine?
Yes.
That was the end of the story.
Yes.
Which brings me to the question, as a doula, which is what you do,
Yes.
why are you a friend of many moms-to-be?
I'm a friend of many moms who are pregnant,
Moms who are pregnant,
yes, who are breastfeeding, who have just had a baby, moms who are uncertain or unclear about that journey, either if it's pregnancy or breastfeeding, or even getting the work-life balance back after you've had your baby. Now, I am their friend because I teach them, I support them, I educate them, and I empower them through that journey, wherever they may be, so that that process becomes easier and it becomes a more positive experience, whether it's labor, whether it's breastfeeding. And when it comes to breastfeeding, many healthcare professionals have no idea of how to teach a mother how to actually breastfeed. They know the anatomy of the breast and how the milk comes and what breastfeeding hormones are, but they don't know. So they actually need to be taught as well the skill and the techniques of how to support a mother when it comes to breastfeeding.
It takes me, I remember it very clear, that morning it was around 8 a.m. my first baby was brought to me in the hospital. And then of course you're told, nyonyesha mtoto. I will never forget that experience because it was one of the most painful experiences I ever had. And it was nothing like what we see in the movies.
So immediately you put your baby on the breast, you had pain?
I felt the pain.
Where? In your stomach or on the breast?
On the nipple. And I remember it was so painful to the point, the more he tried to, I think milk doesn't come out, of course, immediately. The more he suckled, the more painful it was. Eventually, I had a bit of bleeding. It was sore.
Yes.
It was something I was thinking to myself, if this is my first child, and this is the experience, no.
I'm not going to be enjoying this.
This is not fun.
Yeah,
this is not fun.
It's not. And if your latch is wrong from the beginning, that you'll have that pain, excruciating pain, you're feeling it from the top of your head to your feet. Yeah,
very true.
The support a mother gets initially, and I always say this, the initial support a mother gets will set out the tone for her breastfeeding journey.
There you go.
So if you are brought your baby and you're told, okay, Mama so-and-so, now it's time to breastfeed, I will teach you the skill and the technique on how to position and attach your baby, and then thereafter you will continue. But if you're just given your baby and told, aya, nyonyesha.
So what we need to get our mothers to do
is,
wherever they deliver, to ask the nurse, show me how to breastfeed.
Do not agree to be discharged to go home
without knowing how to breastfeed
before you're taught on how to actually do it, or have your nurse or the midwife or the doctor discharging you actually observe a feed. If they observe you breastfeeding your baby, that's when they could be like, oh, no, maybe you need to change this, change this. But remember, not all healthcare professionals are trained on how to support mothers with breastfeeding. They just know the milk will produce milk, and that's the best milk for your baby until they're 6 months. But actually, how to do it?
No.
Not everybody knows.
So let's talk about, our topic for today is the common challenges when it comes to breastfeeding. So let's start with the first one and the most common one.
Yes.
I have sore nipples. How does that come about and how can a mom be helped?
Okay, so sore nipples happens when you are, as I mentioned earlier, you're latching incorrectly. So the latch is just how the baby is attached on the breast. Many moms end up just allowing the baby to nipple feed. This will be very painful.
There you
go.
go.
You have bleeding, cracked, sore nipples.
So that is what I was doing.
Yes, you're supposed to allow the baby to cover the entire dark brown area of your breast. So not to nipple feed, but to breastfeed. So if it's as big as this, all of this should be in the
Plus the
baby's
brown
mouth.
area needs to be in the baby's mouth.
Yes, but if you just allow this, it's first of all painful. You will feel like you're not producing enough milk because you're not producing enough milk. You're not stimulating the breast to produce.
Right.
You have to be here. Baby has to be here to produce. Then you get sore nipples and you choose, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I will look for
other alternatives.
an alternative.
So Shiro, what's the secret of having a good latch and becoming a pro from day one, if it's possible?
Yes, and I think we've talked about this before, but I'll mention it. How you hold the breast. So we're not going to hold the breast like this, the scissor hold. You have to hold 4 fingers under the thumb on top.
There you
if
go.
your areola is as small as this breast, can you imagine once you cover that, only the nipple is in between?
Even for the baby.
Yeah, they have nothing to really suck on, so will they use your nipple as a straw? So 4 fingers under, thumb on top, and if it's this small, the entire areola will be in the baby's mouth.
Okay.
And then the baby, how you hold your baby, tummy to tummy.
Tummy
Always.
to tummy.
Always tummy to tummy. So no head facing mommy and the stomach is looking elsewhere. So
There you
always
go.
tummy to tummy.
Tummy to
then
tummy.
you don't take your breast down to the baby. You have a pillow or a cushion, if you don't have the breastfeeding nursing pillow, a cushion so that you avoid going down to the baby. Baby should come up to you. So bring the baby to the breast.
There
not
you
the
go.
breast down to the baby.
Okay.
And then wait for a gaping mouth. Many moms are trying to force the
baby to open their mouth.
Yeah, and they're like here, trying to, but if they're not opening wide, gaping, like about to yawn, then don't latch the baby. Okay, they should open wide. So those are some of the things that moms should look out for when they're trying to get the baby to latch well.
All right.
Yes.
Moving on to the next one. For a mom who complains they have low milk supply,
Okay.
how does that come about and what can they do?
Okay, one of the things about that is common. Many moms complain about low milk supply, and it's usually you're not attaching the baby right. So if you have a shallow latch, the wrong latch, the milk will not come. Number 2, are you breastfeeding often enough? On demand. So the low milk supply also comes when you go back to work. So you've been feeding your baby maybe 10 times during the day. Now they're at home and you're not even going to express. Your body now wonders, okay, the supply has decreased. So the body will also decrease.
In production.
The demand has decreased, so the supply will definitely decrease. It's a fact.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Also, if you're engorged or have mastitis, your milk supply may be low because yes, you're feeling rock hard and heavy and full, but when you try to breastfeed or to pump, very little is coming out.
That can be tough.
Yes.
That can be tough.
Another thing, anxiety, stress, doubt. You don't know what you're doing, how you're doing, am I doing the right thing? So sometimes moms just need to be reassured and told, gosh, Christine, you're doing it well.
You
You're
got
like, really?
this. You
I'm doing
got
it well.
this.
Yeah, then they relax and they calm down. But if you're stressed, you're anxious, milk production is
It's a mental thing.
very mental. So if you have a mental block about everything or how you're feeling, are you resting, are you calm, it will affect your milk production.
So for moms who are struggling with low milk supply,
Yes.
they need to also check probably their state of mind,
Yeah.
stress and the environment they're in and how they're looking at motherhood. So a change of perception possibly could help them.
Yes, because those things will inhibit your production.
You know, this other problem, the next one is a problem I wish I had.
Oversupply. That's funny. Yeah.
Or why would anybody complain of having an
thinks,
oversupply?
God, it's such a blessing.
Like you are such a KCC, what's the problem?
Yeah,
but why could that be a problem?
Yeah, sometimes for moms who have an oversupply, they don't want, it's too much. You have a high susceptibility of getting engorged, getting mastitis. You're constantly leaking. Okay? Your baby is constantly choking on your milk.
That's dangerous, right?
Yeah. Because you see the letdown is that release of the
It's
milk. It's too fast. Okay? So for the babies, half the time it's choking.
Yeah.
For the mom, it can have a lot of more pain than a mother who's not having overproduction.
Really?
Yes. Okay? So you're either trying to pump and then not trying to pump too much because the more you're demanding from the breast by pumping, the more it will produce. So you're trying to get a balance.
Because I'm sitting here thinking, if oversupply could happen when you're pumping and breastfeeding at the same time, it's a wonderful problem. Then
it can be too much and becomes a problem. So for moms who have oversupply, I say, look, maybe do blocks. Don't pump. Give it 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Then pump when it's too much, and then only pump out what makes you comfortable. Don't empty the breast.
Okay. Let's talk about, and you've mentioned it just now, engorgement.
Okay.
What is it? How does it happen? How do you relieve it?
Okay. So for engorgement, this happens initially the first week. So day 4 is when your milk really comes in. So you mentioned your milk is not there day 1, but it's there. From 28 weeks of pregnancy, it is there.
Really?
But it's a clear liquid that people imagine, oh, my breasts are just removing water. They keep wiping. That's the start of colostrum.
Wow.
But by day 4, your milk now fully comes in a flood. Your baby may not be able to take all that milk that is in your breast, and you constantly are having a lot of milk in your breast. It starts to get rock hard as an apple, I say. Okay, so not nice and squishy and soft, but rock hard as an apple. So if it's that hard, first your nipple will be flat because the skin is pulled, and it makes it very difficult for the baby to latch on and actually breastfeed. Okay, if you're engorged, it may lead to mastitis if you do not take the milk out of your breast. So you have to express. So what do? Take a warm shower. The warm shower will soften the breast, and then you can try and pump, and it relaxes and calms a mother. Number 2, maybe use cabbage leaves. Yeah?
Cabbage leaves?
Yes. Cabbage leaves, it's not a myth. By the way, I think all hospitals, maternity wards.
This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Cabbage
and
leaves.
I'm a veteran mom.
Yes. No, sometimes people think it's a myth, but it works. I've actually used it.
So what? You take the cabbage leaf and put in the fridge, or what? Or
No, first put the whole cabbage in the fridge because you may need it more than the 2 leaves.
Do people who sell cabbages know what we use them for? But as we were continuing.
Put the cabbage in the fridge. Then just pull out 1 layer. See the leaf? Rub a rolling pin on top of it.
Why?
Because it breaks down and it opens up the enzymes in that cabbage, which does slow down production, and it will decrease your discomfort. You put it on under your breast.
Yes.
Cover it with the cabbage, and then wear your bra, nursing bra. Oh, it is so relieving.
This is medically confirmed.
I mean, it says it's midwife's tales, but it works.
But it works.
I've used it, Christine. It works. Mothers who I suggest to use it, they're like,
They
oh
say
my
it
God,
works. I wish I knew this before.
It works. So use it, wear it for like an hour, then remove.
Okay.
If you're engorged again, put it back. It will actually even slow down your milk production. So cabbage leaves help. Then after that, use a warm compress and try and express either by hand or use a breast pump.
There you go. Before we go on a break, we have a question from Bill House sent us an SMS on our 22999 number. Okay. And her question is, mtoto wangu hashibi. So how can I tell? Her question is, how can I tell if my baby is getting enough milk?
Okay. It's a very common question. Very common question. Now, how do you tell your baby's getting enough milk? Check their diapers. Not the poop, but the pee. Okay? They need to have at least 6 wet diapers in 24 hours. So if your baby is 1 day old, you will have 1 diaper. 2 days old, 2 diapers. But by the time they're 6 days old, you should have a minimum of 6 wet diapers in 24 hours from then on, depending on their age.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
The wet diapers. Number 2, when you go to the clinic, is your baby putting on weight? That should
be a good indicator.
Yes, the scales will not lie to you. They will tell you whether she's adding or losing. Baby must constantly be adding minimum of 500 grams a month, half a kg per month.
Okay.
Then when you feed your baby, are they calm and content and happy? Are they sleeping for at least an hour? Okay, that means they were full. If baby's always fussy, doesn't want to come out of the breast, or you put baby down after feeding, 10 minutes later they want to come back, they're not having enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those are good indicators.
Yes.
All right, let's take a short break and then we continue when we come back.
Okay.
In our conversation today, we have Shiro Shiera, who's a dealer, and she's sharing the common challenges and what to do when it comes to matters breastfeeding. We are going to take a short break. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to this episode of Today's Parent, where we are talking about the common challenges when it comes to breastfeeding. And in studio, we have Shiro Shiera. Now, Shiro, as we come from the break, we have a mom who's 5 months pregnant, and her question is, she's wondering whether to buy a manual pump or an electric pump. And I'm thinking at 5 months pregnant, she's already thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
Different. I didn't think about it then.
Yeah, she's a planner. No, these days people are doing that. Planning ahead.
So what advice do you have for her?
Many times it depends on what your pocket will allow you to take. Okay? Because if you think about electric, there's double and there's single electric. Okay? Then there's the manual. And then there's also hand. You can do it by hand. And I think it's a lot easier. Once you learn how to express milk by hand, it's a lot easier and faster. Christine?
Why are you emphasizing that point?
Because your hand, for some moms, the pump doesn't stimulate the breast as much as touching.
Or compared with the hand?
Yes. So the milk doesn't come out quick as fast, okay? But it's either electric. If you can afford a double electric, I'd say go for that. Because with a double electric, you get about 18% more milk because you do it together than you would with a single pump. And when you're buying a single pump, you need to find out how well does it work? Because sometimes you go for the cheapest of the cheap, which is for 2,000 shillings. I will not say what pump that is, but it's really frustrating.
You're even going very far.
You'd rather, I'm going far.
Yeah, in terms of price, because I remember my first pump
was
I don't think it was more than 600 bob.
Really?
And because I'm a first-time mom and I've gone to the counter and I'm seeing all these fancy things, and I'm thinking, I just want to pump milk out of my breast. How complicated can it be? I will never forget that pump. You know the way the bicycle people looks like, you know it.
Yes,
the horn.
Yes.
So it looks like a horn. So it has the horn part.
Yes.
And then, of course, at the end, it has a rubber thingy. And then at the bottom is where your milk is harvested. And I can tell you, Shiro, it is the most frustrating thing.
It's horrible.
It was so tough.
Did it make your nipples sore?
And I had to throw it away, by the way. Eventually, it couldn't work. I had to invest in another pump.
Okay. So you got a manual or an electric?
So my first one was manual with my first baby. And then the second one, with those nice baby showers.
Me too.
I got an electric one. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Just to sit there and everything just happens.
It depends on what a mom can afford. Sometimes the electric is unaffordable, but they're either between 2,000 and 5,000.
But I do agree with you, a good quality pump is important. Or, like you say, if you can learn how to do it by hand,
why not?
That would be good.
And if you're going to be home with your baby, at least for the first year or 6 months, you might not need one, just your hand.
There you go. There you go. So let's go back to our conversation of today.
Yeah.
Another common challenge when it comes to breastfeeding, inverted nipples. Do you get that a lot in your practice, by the way?
It's a lot. And people don't realize their nipples are inverted until they give birth and they're told, hiya, your nipple is different. Okay?
By the way, what is an inverted nipple?
An inverted nipple, so this is the normal nipple. This is erect. Inverted nipple, this is inside, like that. Okay?
Like throughout life, that is the way it is.
For some women, if they squeeze, it pops out. Others, it doesn't pop out. Okay? It says, or it pops out and it goes back in. Yeah. In hospital, if your nurse or midwife sees that, they will take a syringe, cut the tip. You know where we put the injection to draw the medication or give the injection? That's cut out. And then this is going to be used to pull out
the nipple.
The nipple. Whether flat or inverted. Okay? So I find moms with a nice round ring because of the friction band. Because you're constantly, because this is sharp. It's just been cut by a blade. Use a nipple puller. Okay? This does the same thing as that, but is not as uncomfortable. So you squeeze it, it looks like the bicycle horn we're talking about, and it helps to pull the nipple out. Once this has pulled out, then latch the baby on immediately. If you don't use any of this, a breast pump will do the same thing. I'd advise a mom with a flat nipple or inverted nipple. So flat is just flat. You have to play around with it, then it erects. Use a breast pump. You pump out for like 5 minutes. You don't necessarily want to get milk, but you're trying to pull, suck the nipple out. Then latch your baby.
So you want to tell me, for a mom who has inverted nipples, they have to do this every time they have to do a feed?
Usually for 2 weeks you do that. Then the baby's sucking reflex
should help
to pull it out. Mothers should know it is possible to successfully breastfeed your baby with flat or inverted nipples.
That's good.
Oh, yes.
That's good.
Don't imagine it's impossible. Also, the way you hold your breast matters. So don't do that. And also for flat or inverted nipples, I say squeeze a little, compress.
Okay.
So I call this the sandwich hold. You hold it like you're about to eat a burger. That helps. So don't just do the 4 fingers and a thumb on top like you're just supporting your breast.
Right.
With a flat or inverted nipple, you squeeze it a little.
Okay. How about we talk about a common breast infection known as mastitis?
Okay. So mastitis is you are engorged, heavy, full, rock hard. Now you're starting to have fever-like symptoms. you have fever, you have pain, your breast is completely sore, you've tried to pump, your milk is not coming out, you have fever, that is a sign of infection.
That must be uncomfortable.
Very, very uncomfortable. So people with overproduction tend to have that. Moms who are not breastfeeding the baby often enough and get engorged, engorgement may lead to mastitis. So what do you do with mastitis? First of all, you need an antibiotic treatment. But, I say this, but, it doesn't mean you need to stop breastfeeding.
Okay.
So you get an antibiotic treatment that is good, is safe for baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so the doctor will always, yes, this is a lactating mother, give medication that is safe. The antibiotics are
so mother doesn't need to worry about that.
That you need to stop breastfeeding.
Right.
Continue to breastfeed. Breastfeeding problems are resolved by continuing breastfeeding but getting onto the right medication if it's an infection.
Okay.
When you're healed from mastitis, ensure you don't get engorged. Because mastitis can happen either in the beginning or even when your baby is 4-5 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be that it's the first week where you're overproducing that it can happen.
Right.
It's very difficult for a mother with mastitis because the milk is also takes a long time to come out. So there's the cabbage I mentioned, there's the compression, warm compress, get into the shower, express. But with the help of a good lactation specialist like myself and the others, you will be fine.
Right. How about, is it possible to get a yeast infection when you're breastfeeding?
Yes.
It's possible?
Yes. Now, I'm going to take my baby again. It is possible. So, you've seen babies, sometimes when they're breastfeeding and they yawn, they have a nice thick coating on their tongue. Okay? Moms should actually try to clean it off, either with the thimble. You know the grooming kits that moms buy these days? There's a plastic thimble that you put and it has bristles. If you don't have that, take a washcloth.
I have never seen it, by the way, the thimble you're talking about.
Yeah, no, these days they are very fancy things. There's, you take a washcloth, dip it in water, and then clean the tongue. So just touch the baby's chin. Yeah, just below the lip. They will extend their tongue out. Then you wipe. If that stays on, the baby might develop thrush. Now, thrush is just fungus. And yeast loves warm, moist environments. That, because the baby is feeding, it will be transferred to mommy's breast. A symptom of thrush for mom is shooting pain, even without breastfeeding, and you just feel itchy. You want to itch your nipple and areola
So that must be a yeast infection.
It needs to be treated. If baby is getting treatment for this, I suggest moms should also apply the same ointment or gel on their breast.
Okay.
If it goes untreated, the yeast enters the breast. And I will tell you, it is painful. It is very, very painful. And it's becoming quite common because I keep hearing supporting moms with yeast infections. Someone texts me and says, look, my breast is a lot of pain. It started at dull ache, now it's a lot. It's mainly on one side. It tends to also transfer to the other side.
Right.
So probiotics also help to kill that.
You know, Shiro, speaking about a very special Olympic, if there's an Olympic amongst moms, there's one special Olympic called breastfeeding for 6 months. And I know a lot of moms who are watching are thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, I have to stretch this minimum to 6 months. For moms who are watching and they want to exclusively breastfeed, what advice can you give to them? Is it something something special they need to eat?
No, first of all,
it's all mental, most of it.
Before this baby comes, and I've said this before, when I'm doing a lactation class with pregnant moms, I always want to know each and every one of them, how long do you want to breastfeed for? If you haven't thought about it, you need to think about it. Because when it starts, I have made a decision, and this is what I want to do. Bare minimum should be 6 months, but there are some who say 3 months, and it is well.
Okay.
As long as you've been able to breastfeed for some time, I mean, the benefits go well over adult years for your child. So try and breastfeed for 6 months. Even this is what we are promoting as lactation specialists. It's what even the World Health Organization is promoting. Because the baby's digestive tract is not mature enough to take any other foods other than breast milk until 6 months. And exclusive means there's no water, there's no other popo, I don't know, uji until 6 months.
There you go.
It's a mother's gift. Breastfeeding is a mother's gift. And let me tell you, you feel, Yani, you have been successful.
I remember I took myself out on the last day of 6 months.
You're like, I did it.
Oh my gosh.
Well done.
It was very special.
Yes.
But you know, we do understand that all moms are not able to, but all of us are trying to do the best that we can.
Yes. So if 3 months is your best, well done. You've done a good job.
There you go.
Yes.
Shiro, as we wrap this up, the final challenge I want to share with you for moms who want to stop breastfeeding, what tips can you share there? I know there are people who've tried pili-pili, it didn't work, you've exported your child to the grandmothers, they've come back, it's the first thing they remembered.
Yes.
What can a mother do if they're trying to stop their child breastfeeding?
Oh yeah, let me tell you, I did that for my 22-year-old, 22-month-old.
22-month-old.
And the reason I stopped, I was done. I was done.
Mentally, you are done.
I'm done. It's almost 2 years. I think I've done a good job. I have contributed to society by providing a very healthy child. I've done my job.
Yeah.
I had to use cabbage leaves.
Cabbage leaves?
Yes, we go back to that. Because I was getting engorged. And I told my baby, now, Nyonyo is finished. It's gone. So I didn't use pili pili. No, I used elastoplast. I'm giving you my advice. What I did, I just put tape here, elastoplast here, and there in an X, and I said it's finished. So she cries, I show her.
It is finished.
Yeah, it's gone. Now, it's heartbreaking. Many times I want to take out the tape and put the baby back on the breast because you're engorged, so you know, but if she nyonyas, I'll be so
You're
much,
going to get relief.
I'll be good. I'll get so much relief. But once you are ready, you do it. Don't do it because of societal pressure.
Do it when
if
you're
your
ready.
baby is 3 years old and you're still happy to breastfeed,
Continue.
Okay. The benefits of breastfeeding just continue on as the baby is growing. But when you're ready, try just put elastoplast, and then when you're engorged, take the cabbage leaf. Also, drinking sage tea, the herbal tea sage,
helps.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you, Shiro. I mean, it's always insightful to have you here to share with us. We learn so much from you. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And on that note, we come to the end of today's episode of Today's Parent, where we were talking about the common challenges when it comes to matters breastfeeding. I hope you've learned something so far. Even if you're planning to stop breastfeeding and you're wondering what to do, now you know. If you have any questions pertaining to matters breastfeeding, send us an SMS on 22999 and we'll find a way to connect you to Shiro Shiera. I have been your host, Christine Casina, and this has been Today's Parent. If you are a young parent looking for cool kids furniture, especially as a breastfeeding mom, please come over to Little Cribs and see what you can find that your kid will most likely love and adore. For parenting resources, go to www.supermamas.co.ke. As I always say, it's a good day to have a good day, so make a decision to have a good day. See you next time.